Hi, this is Denise Matthew. I hope you're doing well. I'm here today to talk about the overall view of the transits that we can look out for 2023. Interesting theme that we'll see play out within the year is that we have almost like two separate parts of the year where we have a first half and a second half. So, for instance, the first half is where most of the planets are going direct, and it's almost like that's the time where we can strike while the iron is hot and get some things done and get some advances in the places we want to. It doesn't mean the second half of the year we can't get advances, but it does say that they may come sort of more sporadic than they do in the first half of the year. And so with that said, let's get into the details. And Jupiter is going to be moving through a lot of different energies for 2023. We've already talked a lot about the gate 25 for 2022, and Jupiter is going to make its final pass for another 12 or so years, and then it will move on to other energy, and it's going to go back into the gate 17. So again, we're going to continue on right up until really February, where Jupiter's reviewing and revisiting the same energy it visited in 2022. So in February 18th, it moves into the gate 21, and this is the gate of control. Now, if we look at this from a Jupiterian perspective, this is rules, regulations, laws. It can be higher learning and education, and it is connected to the gate 21, which is related to it's half of the channel of money or the money line. And this is talking about financial system. So we might see new rules show up in the financial system, things that maybe we haven't seen before. And I would say potentially maybe there'll be new rules for the Bitcoin, whether you like that or not. I'm not saying I want that to happen or I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying that might be potential because Jupiter is really talking about rules and regulations for money systems, monetary things, and those types of things. So that might shift in some way. The gate 21 is tribal energy, and it really is the treasurer that is trying to control, to get all of the abundance together so that you can survive when you don't have something. Although Jupiter likes to expand, I don't think it's going to be really happy in this energy when we're trying to control the money and those types of things. So it could be a little bit of a push-pull where we have this need for control, but we also have this need to expand. So finding the middle way might be key to moving forward for this energy. It may be a time where we might be able to see some big gains in monetary things, like maybe even the stock market, although Mercury is more connected to the stock market. But having said that, we don't know. There might be some gains where we are expanding the control, but in the long run, it actually does help with things being more streamlined. And if we look at the whole gate 21, we have Jupiter exalted in a couple of lines and also in detriment in one line. So again, it is reinforcing that idea of new rules coming in, but really for the being for the greater good. On March 15th, we have Jupiter moving through the gate 51. And the key phrase for the gate 51 is called the ability to respond to disorder and shock through recognition and adaptation. So in other words, it's talking about those moments of shifting and changing that kind of come out of the blue. The thing about the gate 51, it is connected to these life-shifting moments where one thing begins, where we have this kind of perception of what life is, and then after that event happens, we change completely. This can be spiritually, this can be mundane, or in the real world, physical energy, or in some way, it could be a new rule that completely shifts the world around us because we didn't see it coming this way. The gate 51 is also competition or needing to be first, and this is, again, mutative energy, and it is coming out with something brand new. So there might be this push or drive or this expansive energy to try and get that new thing, that new innovation out into the world and be the first to get it out there. It may not be the best, but it may be the first that happens. And we might see a lot of first things happening, not necessarily going to be the final product, but it is something brand new that we're seeing kind of come out into the world. And, you know, with Uranus in the gate 23, this kind of does add to that emphasis of the energy of something different showing up in the trajectory. But as with all gate 51, it is this idea that we may see some shocking events happen, big, expansive, shocking events happen that we hadn't expected that they would happen. But again, these shocking events can lead us into a new understanding of what the world means to us, about what life means to us, and basically never being able to look at the world through the same lens again, and we see things from a brand new perspective. April 8th, we have Jupiter moving into the gate 42, and this is maximizing our benefits, trying to get the most out of something that is already started. This is the other side of the gate 53. So if we look at, for instance, the gate 53 that happened in the new year, and I mean the new Gregorian New Year, the January 1st New Year, we might see some things that we have planted start to show some sprouts, some seeds are coming to fruition, and we can start to see something growing that we planted a while back. Or things are not working the way we want it to, and we're deciding to maybe do something else, to reconfigure, to plant something new, to close that cycle out and to open something new because that isn't working the way you want it to. So you could see some real growth happening, or you could see things that are not working, but it's also good in that if something isn't working, it's better to know rather than continuing to put more energy into something and it's just not working for your advantage. This is a time where we might see some guru type of people who are considered gurus in the world who might have a passing, or they might pass away, because the gate 42 can also be the gate of endings and completely finishing this life process altogether. So that's something to keep in mind. May 1st to 25th, we have Jupiter moving into the gate 3, and that's going to bring us the full 360 channel, which will be in play a couple times as the year progresses, because we also have a nodal shift that's going to bring this whole energy in play as well. So this is a time for anybody who normally has an open sacral center, and that would be manifestors, projectors, and also reflectors, to really watch your energy so that you know that you can use the energy that you have that is activated in a way that is very productive, where you're using the energy to your benefit and it's not using you, because there is a potential that you can overdo it if you don't navigate this energy in a way where you're getting what you need, but you're also getting the rest you need. So you know what's best for you, and as long as you're working with the energy in a way that is beneficial, then you can really reap a lot of benefits from this energy or this transit. And it will be in play quite a bit, where we're looking at the energy of 2023 as something very mutative, something innovative, something as we've never seen it before, brand new energy that is going to shift the collective. Now, we may not see it happen in 2023, but these are the seeds that are being planted, or even the children that are being born, that are going to bring hugely mutative energy and ideas to the collective. So this is where we might have a lot of innovative and mutative energy that is being introduced to the collective, where we may see some progress, but we may not also see it until further along the line in maybe 2024 going forward. Now, we do have a lot of Jupiter being in the gate 27. It spends a fair bit of time in the gate 27 as we move forward. And what that is talking about is an expansion on how we feed ourselves, how we nurture ourselves. So we might see a lot of kind of programs where we are putting a focus on the rules and regulations for how we get our food, for how we are sourcing our food. Maybe there's going to be more rules and regulations on pesticides and those types of things that are used kind of uniformly, and maybe we're understanding that they're not necessarily as good as we think, and maybe they're harmful not only to the environment but almost to everybody, because in some way it's causing us to get sicker because of our immunity or something like that. So this could be rules and regulations that are shifting based on the needs that we have for our nourishment, for caring. This might be talking about how we care for ourselves, an expansion of this idea of self-care, self-sufficiency, and one more push for this idea of growing your own food or taking care of yourself in some way, and less kind of emphasis on the government and what they can bring to you, and more emphasis on what you can bring to yourself. This is sourcing things that are community based, that are tribal based, where you're kind of coming together as a community to feed yourself. And if we look at Saturn in the gate 37 as well, these are kind of lining up. Saturn saying, okay, you're going to need to come up with some new additions. And the gate 27 with Jupiter there is saying, okay, now we're going to come up with something new ways of caring for ourselves, new ways of nurturing ourselves, new ways of providing ourselves with the nourishment we need. And that's what Jupiter is going to bring. So you could say that they're working in tandem. Saturn showing the problem and Jupiter is trying to fill it. And again, with Jupiter, it is very expansive. So it might be a lot of bigness before it starts to settle into something that is more usable and more user-friendly. And Jupiter goes into the gate 24 and it will go in there from June 22nd. That's when it will begin. And of course, it will retrograde later on. We've talked a lot about the gate 24. The nodes were in the gate 24 and the 44. And this is about addiction. This is about going back to the same thing over and again. This is about choosing to go with what everybody thinks or to choosing to decide what you want to think, as opposed to kind of going with the pack mentality of what everybody else is saying or doing. This is potentially could be an expansion in conspiracy theories, which we've seen a lot of over the last couple of years with a lot of activation of the gate 24. This is just one more way. And this could be connected to spiritual leaders, conspiracy theories connected to spiritual leaders and spiritual gurus, you could say. This is also this idea of an expansion of addiction programs, higher education for addiction, how we can work with addiction in a way where we're starting to find ways to help people that they need. Because the last couple of years with Pluto going in the gate 61 and those types of things, it really did bring that energy to the forefront and said, okay, we need some hardcore ideas on how we can help people to get their health back. And as I said before, this could be connected to more natural ways of working with addictions and addictive behavior as 2023 goes on. And last but not least, we have Jupiter moving into the gate 2, and this is really following into the energy of Uranus's path last year in 2022. So Jupiter is revisiting the energy of the gate 2, but it's bringing its own spin. And this is talking about potentially your spiritual path. It could be talking about the trajectory for your spiritual way, how you want to move forward. This could be talking about the path that you want to take for higher education, or it might even be the path that we're taking for rules and regulation and how we move forward into 2023. What are the rules, regulations, and the things that we need to work with the collective and to get us on the best trajectory as a collective going forward? And as a personal trajectory, this is sort of giving you more, I guess you could say, energy to move in the direction that Uranus might have picked out for you or pointed out for you in 2022. And this is Jupiter saying, okay, now you have your direction. I'll give you the wind in your sails. I'll give you the energy that you need so that you can start to work towards getting that place that you want to go, because now you have it in sight. And now I'm going to give you the impetus and the push to move you forward. But again, this is very expansive energy, and it may want to push a little too hard, get a little too expansive. So moderation in all things will always serve you best. Well, that's it for the year ahead. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're still with me, thanks for coming along for the ride. And I will be back again as year progresses to talk about different transits, eclipses, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and the new and full moons. But until then, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.